Hey AJ. Hey.
What's up, yo?
What's up, dude? Dude,
What's
I
up,
got
dude?
I got Tornado a new fountain today, or it showed up
Oh,
today. Yeah, well,
like a
she
water
splashed.
fountain
Yeah. The cats like it when there's moving water. Like they enjoy drinking out of fountains more than just like a bowl.
or a blood fountain because she's the devil.
I mean, I do. I am scared that she's gonna kill me in my sleep one day. She's like, and then I can have all the treats. Like, I don't have to wait for that guy to deliver anything. But dude, it like showed up. Well, so the problem is she splashes water so much, like from bowls, from fountains, doesn't matter. She splashes water all over the place. So there's my floor is just wet all the time because she likes playing with water. And so because fountains require electricity to work, she shorted out the last one in like 3 months. so
Oh,
so I got her a new one, and dude, oh man, it was like watching a kid on Christmas. It's like it made me feel like a parent. I mean, I'm sure it's exactly the same thing as having a kid. Um, when she like figured
parents
out
love that.
when she figured out what it was, man, like she's like, oh, this is mine. Oh, this is the thing. It's a new fountain. Like, I mean, it was just, man,
No,
it was just the greatest feeling ever. And like she looked at me and
so
she's like, I love you, daddy, and I was like, I love you too, little girl.
you
Which I
should have
mean
gotten
is the
her.
most
A,
fucking pedophilic thing out of context. So no one
you should
clipped
have
that.
gotten her a spike collar and a blood fountain. Is all I'm saying.
Okay. I mean, yeah, sure. Maybe when she's older, man. Maybe when she's older. All right. Look. Wow. Can we start the show?
Let go.
This is PSVR Gamescast Live, where we film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and thank God it's Friday. It's Friday, right? Oh, God, it better be Friday. My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here, PSVR without Parole, and this man over here, looking dapper as ever with the sacred symbols adorning his garb. It is AJ from the Underground, PSVR Underground.
I won't tell anyone what you were doing right before we showed up on the screen. What is up, Brian? What is up, Game Cats? Happy Friday. I see Sci-Fi Game Cat Henry has already given us a safe word, but that's for Hump Day, man. Safe words are only for Hump Day.
Yeah, Sci-Fi Gamecat Henry obviously does not know what day
But
today
if
is.
but if you ever want to kill the sexual tension in the room, just say Herman Holtz.
Yeah, that'll do it every single time. Every
It
single
works.
time. Guys, a little bit of housekeeping before we get the show rolling. Don't forget to subscribe to AJ over here. He has his own channel at PSVR Underground on YouTube. Have you what have you done anything recently, or just still waiting for the toe to get caught up?
I took this week off, actually. Yeah, just been busy with normal life stuff and real life stuff, and been playing Republique, which we're going to talk about today. I can't wait to talk about it today, and then streaming Elden Ring in the Discord, of course. During these slow, dark times.
That's right. Don't forget, guys, if you're not already members of our Discord, you can click the link in the description below. It is 100% free to join. Although, if you are a Patreon subscriber or Patreon supporter, the $3 tier gets you access to voice chat, which is pretty cool. It's nice. Kind of hang out there sometimes
Great place.
and talk. AJ, I mean, people support us on Patreon. People support us here in the chat. People support us by watching the channel. But since it's Friday, we should probably talk about another way people support us. Isn't that right?
That's right. We'd also like to support those. Thank those who support us in another way by changing their name to something GameCat related, or something GameCat adjacent, as you and something GameCat adjacent like to say. And this week, we have 3 new GameCats to welcome to the Gamecat Dojo. Starting with Serial Killer, I Wanna Rock, Ragnarok, the GameCat.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, I want a Ragnarok too. I don't know when it's coming, but yeah, I'm excited.
We've also got Snacks Impulse, the heightened emotional response GameCat.
Bing! I feel like we forgot this one for like a few weeks in a row. So if we've forgotten anybody else out there, if you've been like, well, I changed my name to fucking Gamecat 3 weeks ago, they're like, well, it's just kind of par for the course around here. Don't forget hashtag Gamecat in the comments below. And like, if I forgot you, do it again.
Heightened emotional response. I think that comes from the PlayStation blog or something when they're talking about the eye tracking. Somehow eye tracking is going to play into heightened emotional response. We shall see. Finally, last but not least, we got Brucey, 2 Sheds, Gamecat.
Bing! There he is. What the hell does 2 Sheds mean?
I feel like I know this, but I don't know it this time. I know this because somebody said something and pointed it out, but I totally lost track of what it was, so I don't know.
So helpful, so helpful. Don't forget, guys, Gamecats are the loyal followers of Without Parole. It's a long story, but if you love us almost as much as we love you, that's right. Don't forget, change your name to Gamecat over on YouTube or Google, and then put a hashtag Gamecat in the comments below. Not this chat, because I'll never find it. That's not how chats work. But definitely in the comments of any video, and when I do a search, you'll probably pop up. Hashtag Gamecat. Thank you all so very much. We love you. AJ.
You.
Lots and lots and lots of news to talk about. Obviously, a bunch of things have happened. We got some games to talk about. We got some updates to talk about. But first, one of our loyal cats out there, Sci-Fi cautiously hyped cat Henry, who does the timestamps for this show, left a viewer takeover question on Discord. Another great reason to join Discord, because you can leave your viewer takeover questions over there, and maybe
take over the show.
We'll let you take over the show. Where's Henry, man? We should get him up here on video and let him do his thing.
Get your camera on, Henry. Let's do this.
Yeah. He writes, hashtag viewer takeover. You've done a list of confirmed and rumored PSVR 2 titles, but let's talk hybrid releases. Since there are several months until PSVR 2's release, what flat PS5 games and upcoming PS5 games should we keep an eye on? Not only for discounts, but hybrid creaminess. I don't think I read this entire comment before copying and pasting
Hybridy creaminess.
Hybridy creaminess. I think that somehow makes it worse.
So is this excluding games that you had in your video or no? Like,
yeah, because I did have a few hybrids.
7,
right?
Yeah, Gran Turismo 7, Resident Evil Village. I think. Yeah, I don't know what else there was.
Yeah, let's add something new to the conversation, man. If we've already talked about those, what new shit do you think we should keep an eye on or expect?
There's a couple games I'm keeping my eye on for sure. The Callisto Protocol is one that I'm very interested to see what happens with it. I'm going to be keeping my eye on a lot of first-person games, but it's not necessarily limited to that, because I think there's not every game has to be first-person to eventually be a PSVR 2 game.
Sure.
But yeah, Callisto Protocol is one of them.
I thought I had a trailer for that. Guess not. Oh well. Yeah, I mean, I think the one that most people are kind of pointing at right now is the Dead Space remake. We talked about it a little bit on the last show, but it just got delayed until Q1 or early. I think they said early 2023. Which, if you're enjoying, random conspiracies, or if you like to enjoy random conspiracies, you could be like, well, they're delaying it so it can launch alongside of PSVR 2, but that makes no sense whatsoever, because it's also a flat screen PS5 game, a flat screen Xbox Series X game, and that would be absolutely silly to delay a game like that. But so I highly doubt there's any correlation between the delay and the release, but I do think Dead Space would be a fantastic first-person VR game, and so I've really got my fingers crossed for that one.
A lot of people saying Ghostwire Tokyo. That is a game that, like, I really, really want in VR on PSVR 2. Now that that's Bethesda, so unless there's something already in the contracts. But yeah, that is technically one we should still keep an eye out on. Until PSVR 2 is released. It's still possible. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I sure hope so. It looks so perfect for PSVR 2. I mean, you look at the gameplay and it's first person. It's got like all these hand gestures. doing that, integrating that into the finger touch detection stuff, if that was possible, that would be super cool. Get a full game and some cool things with it. But that's not all, Brian. I'm really interested to keep. I've been keeping an eye. Gonna be keeping an eye on the Wolverine because I feel like the Wolverine would be a good fit as well. And getting to slash people up, Berserker Claw.
Yeah, it's when we see some gameplay of that, I think that's going to be pretty revealing because obviously if it's all about combos and it does the whole like Batman Arkham style of combat where you're definitely like violently being thrown into one direction, then another direction, then another direction. It's sort of hard to replicate that in VR without going back to the drawing board and really changing everything. And so I think it's for me, it's more of the slow paced things like Village, where it's already in first person. It's already sort of designed to be this more slow moving game instead of like a high speed action game. Those are the ones I'm looking for first. But as you said, man, there's no reason that games like that couldn't be third person in VR, and I think they'd be way more fun playing that way. So still playing with a DualSense controller and still playing it the exact same way, except now you have like this way different perspective on the entire game. So I'm okay with that.
Braxpo got that reference when I say Tornado Claw or Berserker Barrage, I think is what he says. And then Braxpo, I even hear it when he says it. He says Optic Blast.
The Cyclops.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the only real safe bets that I feel like are really just Gran Turismo 7 is the only safe bet because the developer has kind of given us tons of hints. There's strong evidence that Resident Evil Village could get the same treatment that we have our fingers crossed for. Obviously, Grand Theft Auto 5, the PS5 version, would be huge for the platform.
So,
there's a lot of unannounced games, and it has me definitely wondering if and when we start to see these games that we're supposed to get 2023, 2024, and so on, if a lot of these will be hybrids.
Yeah. I think this is one of the most exciting prospects for me. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of great VR exclusives and games made for VR from the ground up. But I think the most exciting thing to me is to see how many of these AAA studios or single A studios or even indie studios take to PSVR 2. I think right now it's such a big question mark. It's like, everything's possible, but how many people are going to adopt this? How many people are going to really get on board right away and say, yeah, man, this is like, we want gamers to experience our game in VR. There's a lot of developers out there that still don't like get VR or still don't realize that it's, kind of this thing that people want.
That's the thing. There needs to be a lot of examples because the thing is there's a chance that PSVR 2 is still going to be this kind of Wild West when it comes to development.
Yeah.
A lot like PSVR 1. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. When AAA devs try to dip their toes into VR, oftentimes we've seen like they miss the mark by a lot. And it's not like they wanted that to happen. It's just they're not familiar with a lot of the technology, with what the community likes. And so it's going to take a little bit of time to get that right. Luckily, we've had a couple really good examples. There was a rumored Wipeout game as well. So it would be really interesting to see that. That's already rumored, I think, to have VR support, right? For PSVR 2.
Yeah.
That's already on there. There's what the heck was that other one I was thinking?
What was the Twisted Metal rumor
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, so there's a rumored Twisted Metal that's supposed to coincide with the TV show that has been passed over to Firesprite Games, who's also working on 2 other games as well. And so I don't really know if they're only there to do VR support. Obviously, they're capable of much more than that. They are comprised of like different Wipeout devs and a bunch of that historic UK based group. So anything from them, there's a dark narrative adventure that they're working on. which yeah, I don't know. I still think could be Twisted Metal maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, anything first party, it screams potential, I think.
Yes. But luckily our inside info that you got us, Sony themselves said that they want to focus on not only just remasters of PSVR 1 games, but hybrids moving forward. So,
Okay.
and then making sure that they feel built from the ground up. So this is going to be an initiative that that Sony's going to be doing, and I hope that whoever they have in charge over there knows what built from the ground up implies, because that is a lot of potential for a lot of amazing things.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't want this initiative to restrict developers. We were talking to Josh in Discord chat earlier, who was like, I'll take things that like are Resident Evil 7 ish, right? If it means we're going to get the game in VR, like rather than not getting it at all, right?
Right. Right. Third person games, and whatnot, that just puts you into the world.
Yeah. Point at
I
something
think
and push the X button. If you have to open a drawer that way, that's fine, man. If that's how we have to have it, then that's how we have to have it, rather than reaching out and pulling the drawer and opening it. I get it, man. Not everything is going to be super doable just right from the get go. And I think as more people see the potential, they're going to start when they begin development with PSVR 2 in mind. They'll be able to kind of do these things a little bit easier. But I think right from the get go, I don't know how hybrid the hybrid games will be.
Right. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're not going to go back and redesign their whole entire game just so you can open a drawer with your hand. But
right.
I think there's many cases where that's not going to be a problem. And and some of these hybrids could be from indie developers too, and it's going to be from indie devs, third party devs. So yeah, but
Sci-Fi Gamecat Henry, who asked the question, is in the chat, and he said, "What about RE2, 3, and 5?" I mean, RE2 and 3, the fact that we've seen these on PC, the PC modders, one person or two people modding code that they don't even have, the source code for, are able to bring these things into VR, first person, and it's pretty fucking amazing. Capcom's out of their mind if they don't have some of these games ready for PSVR 2.
I'm hoping they do the same thing as Hitman, basically, where they go back and it's the same engine. So any game that uses the RE engine, anything they configure for that engine, I hope they can apply to as many things as possible. And yeah, how Hitman 3 allowed you to play the entire trilogy in VR. I would love to see that applied to Resident Evil 2, 3, 4, the remakes and stuff coming to PlayStation 5 later on, because we already know that there's versions officially announced
upgrades,
of those.
Right?
Yeah, and yeah, I agree, man. They'd be crazy not to throw money at Capcom to do that.
Throw money at Capcom. Also, Capcom missing out on potential sales if they just don't do it on their own. When you have the opportunity to be at a console launch or any kind of launch, like this will be a peripheral launch, but it's sort of it has the feel of a console because it will have its own games. You're out of your mind if you can't be there for that. All right, man. Well, that's fun looking at the future, but I say we look at the current, at the present, at the current. And today we got an update for after the fall. Included quite a few things. You and I got to play the Horde mode. Here we go. Here's some footage of that.
Hold on, real quick. Dan Kiefer says, Brian, would you play RE6 in VR? I can already answer this. Yes, he would.
Play anything in VR. Like that's, dude. Have you seen the things that I played over the last 5 or 6 years in VR just because they're PlayStation VR? If you're asking if I want to, yeah. I mean, as terrible of a Resident Evil game as RE6 was, it was still playing that in VR is still so much better than most of the games we've played over the last few years. I think it could be fun. I don't know. It's high action. There were still some scenes in that. Some of the campaigns, a couple of the campaigns were halfway decent. All right. So with this update, we got a revolver. Did you get to play with the revolver?
No, I did unlock it, but I didn't really have any interest in playing with the revolver.
Yeah, it's okay. It was certainly not. I'm looking for fucking crazy over the top weapons in this game, and all they gave us was this.
When you have hordes and hordes, like you need to be.
It was my flamethrower.
Yeah, exactly. You need other means. I'll be excited about some weapons being added to this game, but the revolver is not one of them.
Yeah, I played with it a little bit after you and I played the Horde mode. I unlocked the revolver, purchased it, and it was fine. There's nothing.
Is it any
special about
different than the Deagle or the Arizona or the other one?
Well, I don't know. It's an unfair comparison right now because I will say I didn't like the Arizona Falcon or whatever the hell they fucking called it, the Arizona whatever. I didn't like it
Yeah.
at first until I upgraded, and now like you'll see in this footage, I'm just like sniping dudes with the Arizona from far away and taking them down with one shot. And so I'm actually a pretty big fan of that at this point. So I won't know if I like the revolver until I don't know until I upgrade it like 10 times. What'd you think of the Horde mode, man? We jumped into that. We found two unsuspecting co-op partners right off the bat. There was no waiting. The lobbies and that are doing great. What did you
Shout
think,
out to
man?
Steve and Molly.
Oh yeah, Steve and Molly.
I thought it was okay. It starts off a little slow. It starts off a little slow and is really easy. At first, I was like dreading it. I'm like, ugh, like this takes the one fun thing about the game, and now I'm like confined to this tiny little space. Even though it was a place I wanted to be. It's not really a change in scenery by any means. But yeah, I think it was okay, and that seemed to be the general consensus. I even asked Steve and Molly who were in there, and we don't even know them. They're on the Quest or PC, and I was like, so just getting other feedback, and I was like, what do you guys think? And his reaction was, he's like, it's okay, it's something different, and I kind of agree. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, Scott Jesco, PSN, Harry Fellow, PSVR, Gamecat for Life with the 2 quid says, tip fixed, choo choo, let's get AJ hired. Yeah, I saw Lilith earlier saying she couldn't tip. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. I apologize. Thank you, Scott Jesco. Yeah, it's a little weird, man. I mean, it's not weird. Like when people are saying we need more content for this game, I think horde modes are probably the easiest thing to push out as fast as you possibly can because you don't need to build an entire level. You're basically just allowing people to run around a small area and then throw zombies, or in this case, snowbreed at them from pretty much every direction, and then you've got your very own after the fall wave shooter because that's what we wanted for this game. I think my issue is goes beyond after the fall with this. I think it goes beyond horde modes in general, and that's that for me this feels like such like a one and done because it takes so long for the difficulty to start ramping up, and it takes so long for the rewards. Like the further you progress in the horde mode, the better rewards you get when it's all over, and so it takes so long to get there that I'm bored for the first 70% of it. I'm like, oh, here we go. Another wave. That was easy. Another wave. That was easy. Another wave. That was easy.
The beginning of it is so boring.
And then out of nowhere, it gets super difficult. And I'm like, can we just start at the super difficult part and like work our way from there? Because
I was wondering about that. I was wondering, is it better to have horde modes? Because most horde modes I'm accustomed to, they do start pretty difficult. Okay. Especially, they get the difficulty ramps up really fast. But I don't know which one's actually better than the other. I don't think it really matters. But definitely when it comes to like fun factor, it is definitely boring at the beginning. But on the flip side here, this is a much better way to grind for those discs for upgrades. They certainly give you a lot more incentive to play this mode if you're grinding for loot than playing the harvest mode. And the harvest mode is a lot more fun, but this they try to give it a reason, and that is the more waves you survive, the better the loot you get. So I'm fine with it. I'm fine with the structure. I'm fine with having a better way to grind than the same 5 levels over and over and over, and having to go from start to finish and risk losing all your stuff. I think it's an improvement, yes. But it's certainly, I'm not like blown away by it or anything.
Yeah, I think Vertigo was banking on the harvest runs being that gameplay loop being way more addictive than it was. It certainly wasn't as satisfying as we wanted it to be. So mixing it up with this, if you've got a group of people and you're all in a party together and like you just like want to spend the day grinding, then at least you can mix it up and do this because one of the benefits here unlike the PvP modes, is that you can actually bring your upgraded weapons into battle with you. So you'll see, my Arizona, like whatever else I have, my shotgun, and they're fairly upgraded. They work pretty well, and maybe that's part of the problem, man. Maybe since they let us bring all this shit into the Horde mode, that's why it took so long for it to get difficult. It was this right here. The footage you're watching is the first time AJ and I played the Horde mode, and like we got pretty far, man. We got wave 22, 23
19,
or something.
Was
it
like
19?
20, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we kind of died because I started messing around, and and VR Demon's in the chat tape. What's up, homie? Says, I don't care what mode you add, the game is still a brainless shooter. I was actually thinking this to myself.
Yeah.
This is like not a creative mode at all. I don't know why I was kind of expecting maybe something like a little bit different, but it's I think the only, like, one of the few disappointing things was like it's such a small space, and like I was like, like in a way it's in a way it can be cool, but I was really hoping, like, I mean, when they say the level is the highway, it's like, no, you're placed in on the highway, but you're in like a small space. Like there's really not much room here to run around, and I don't know if I like that or not, but yeah, I was definitely thinking to myself, like, this is definitely like a mindless shooter. So if you're into that kind of thing, it's perfect for you.
Yeah, as far as the size of the arena goes, yeah, I mean it's
I like the harvest mode a lot more though, because the way it incentivizes working together, communication. This mode you don't really have to communicate, and so like the first 20 minutes of us in the Horde mode, we were kind of just like all silent. I'm just standing on top of a car. It felt like a static wave shooter where I'm just sitting in one spot and just gunning them down. And like I didn't have to go anywhere. So I'm just like, all right, yeah, it really is like a mindless shooter.
Yeah, it's super mindless. I think if there's any communication to be had for this, it's that you first designated what's north, east, south, and west. Right, you say, or front, back, left, and right. You designate some call outs, and so because I'm I think there's 4 people and there's technically 4 sides to the arena because it's kind of a square, and so you can either all just take a side, or you can just run around like crazy as you see me doing, and then you kind of try to keep an ear out or an eye out to see who needs help. And so if you can actually be like, hey, everyone's coming from the north, or we got a boss coming from the east, along those lines. As it gets more difficult, a few seconds heads up before they get too close to you will certainly be helpful. But yeah, I don't see them doing anything to this game for me to be like, yeah, now I'm in love with it. I don't know what they'd have to do other than way more creative weapons, right? Or maybe some permanent stat upgrades that you can grind for. That would be fun.
Yeah. I really feel like they did the minimal needed for this game. Yeah. It's very much like, I don't know, it's so basic. Like there's really nothing deep about the game. It's more about, like, they tried to emphasize the social aspect and the gunplay, and I think the gunplay is fine, but it's so thin as to like what it tries to do. There's nothing really ambitious or creative about this game.
Yeah,
I think it's just a simple concept that's just stylized.
The 2 selling points are like you get to shoot zombies and you get to play with your friends, and it's like, well, I can name like 100 games like that. It's like they benefit so much because there's just not a lot of competition in VR, which is really unfortunate because it allows people to get away with this shit for way too long.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll change next generation, and there'll be some.
But it's all right. It's all right. It's better than it was at launch. That's for sure.
Way better than it was at launch.
Still needs to be $20 though, like you said.
Yeah, it's still just all right. That's as much as I'm giving it. Just all right. Shout out to Gabriel 004, the licensed me out Gamecat, with the $5 tip. Apparently this is for Professor Lilith. It says the Sunday multiplayer is Crisis Brigade 2. Ignore me.
Nice.
So Professor Lilith with the $5 tip says the Sunday multiplayer is Crisis Brigade 2. You've been ignored, Gabriel. That's awesome. Yeah, make sure you get in to join our Discord, and that means you can always vote for the Sunday multiplayer game that everybody plays, and also then you can remember what time and stuff we play. I think it's like 2 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. I think that's how it works. Yep.
VRigade 2 rocks. Good pick.
Yes, for sure. Well done, voters of said game. So I don't know, man. So this is just the beginning of the Frontrunner season. Is that what it's called? The Frontrunner season?
Yes.
And they're going to be adding another harvest run. They're going to be adding.
That's what I'm looking forward to. And that was what our co-op partners, our randoms, said too. Is like they're really excited about the harvest run. But is it going to be just one map that's like 20 minutes? Who knows?
Who knows? But anyway, enough about that for now. It's good to see that they're updating the game, and I don't know. Let's check on it in another 2 years and see where it's at. hopefully it'll be great then. All right. Well, a game that had an update announced that we talked about a little bit here on the show was Until You Fall. And that was the Neon update. And one of the things it was supposed to be doing was adding a few two-handed weapons to the mix. You guys remember, as long as I got this right, they were weapons. You could hold two weapons at once, two swords, whatever, or you could do a shield and a sword. And now they're doing two-handed weapons, and that's part of the Neon update. There's a bunch of other small updates that are coming to this too. Like I think a slider for smooth turning, so that you can adjust how fast your character turns, all that stuff. But then, when they announced the headsets that it was coming to, they did not mention PlayStation VR. So I reached out to Shell Games and I said, "Hey guys, what's happening?" And I was like, a little bit weird that this update for a game that not only did you release on PlayStation VR, but it's also free for Plus members. So a bunch of people probably own it. You're not bringing the update to us? And here's their response. Their official word, which they'll be posting later on their Discord as well. They said, "We understand your disappointment in hearing that version 1.3 update for Until You Fall will not be launching for PlayStation VR alongside other platforms on March 17th, 2022. At this time, we're waiting for the new PSVR 2 hardware to release before making any decisions about this platform. Our official Discord community will continue to provide inclusive monthly challenges despite the version and content differences. PSVR players will still be able to win prizes, interact with others, and share their best strategies for defeating the baddies. We understand that waiting is hard." They're preaching to the choir. "But we hope you'll continue to enjoy your experience in Rokar." AJ, what's your reaction to this official word from Shell Games?
It's not surprising. As much as I wish that they would update it on PSVR, it's not surprising at all because I don't think this game sold for shit. Even though it's a great game, it really is a wonderful game. They even had it as a free PlayStation Plus game for like 2-3 months. And yeah, if they're not even bringing this update, it means that they couldn't even give the game away to people. So they are, to me, on this platform, for some reason, they have struggled to sell it and get people to play it and download it, which, sucks. But if it would have come to us sooner, obviously it needed more time, but I think if it would have came to PSVR a lot sooner, it would have been way more successful. I think the timing basically was dead on arrival.
Timing was terrible. This came out during the same time as like budget cuts and Walking Dead Onslaught, and
no, budget cuts didn't do anything to it.
No, but
Squadron, Swordsman, and
this was what, late September, early October. Is that what it was? I can't remember.
Yeah.
It was during a block of time where we had like literally 10 games all scheduled for like a 3-week period, and we're just like, what? Why can't you spread this out a little bit, right? And like, what was the rush? What's the point? And so this game certainly got overlooked. We didn't have any sword fighting games on the platform other than Golem, and then suddenly we had 3, like that. And so I think it was easy for people to like get Swordsman instead of this one. And if you look at the sales charts, then you'll see that that's also true. So yeah, it really sucks. But my question is, does it seem like kind of a? I mean, it seems like a pretty and trust me, I have nothing but love and respect for Shell Games and everybody that works there, and I think all their games have been amazing so far, right? And so, like, the last thing I want to do is like throwing shade at this developer who I don't even really know that well. But it seems like, that said, it seems like kind of bullshit that they would say, we're waiting on PlayStation VR 2 to decide what we're doing with the PlayStation VR 1. It's like,
Yeah.
these two things have nothing in common. You brought your game to the PlayStation VR headset, and then phoom, you're just not supporting it anymore.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's all it is.
That's
And
what
this is
it
just-
is. Now,
This is just something to say that, to just let that go.
Now, if they say, if suddenly Sony sends some news down the pipeline to show and says, hey, this is going to be backwards compatibility and will allow you to have PSVR 2 patches for your game to be optimized for the headset at launch, do you think that'll change this for them? Like if Sony starts telling these developers, saying, hey, this is how it works and blah 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 blah, you're going to want to have your updated game ready to go. Do you think suddenly we'll get a different message from Shell? Be like, hey, yeah, we want this game to be updated so that when it comes to PlayStation VR 2, it'll be a very complete experience.
Yeah, I feel like if they just bring the game to if they remaster it for PSVR 2, it would just include this stuff, and that's probably how we're going to end up getting it.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that's the case, man, because this was definitely a little bit of a bummer to hear. For me, I was like, was this an oversight? Did you really not list PSVR for this relatively small update? But the biggest problem to me isn't that we're not getting this update, right? This is version 1.3 or something, I forget. This is two-handed weapons, just a few new weapons. It didn't seem like it was that big of an update. But my biggest problem with this is that if we're not getting this update, then we're not getting the update after this one either. Like if they add a new campaign, then yeah, good luck. We're not getting that on PlayStation VR either. So
yeah, it's a shame because this is a lot of people's. Some people, this was one of their favorite games of 2020. So yeah, it sucks, and I certainly would be interested in the two-handed weapons, depending on what they are. But it sounds like something that would get me to come back and play it. So I don't know. Yeah, it's not a great excuse, but it's an excuse, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
It's just another way of saying we have no interest. But unfortunately, like I said, I don't think there's enough demand either to really convince them.
Yeah, I don't think there is either. But again, I think that if they're using PSVR 2 as an excuse, there better be a reason for it. Like they're like, well, they haven't said anything about backwards compatibility. They haven't said anything about how this game is going to run on PSVR 2. And so I guess Sony's probably just not communicating that with everybody at this point. Because it sounds this official message makes it sound to me like they're still in the dark, and I don't like that at all. Yeah. Anyway, AJ, a new game came out yesterday for the PlayStation VR. It's a game that we've been talking about, I feel like, for 7 years now. It's actually been out for almost that long,
and it's called Metal Gear Hope.
Don't lie. You like that thumbnail?
Yeah, sure. I guess I don't. That's text. That's not really the thumbnail, but I guess it's part of it. But
okay. Well, this isn't the right trailer. This isn't the right trailer at all. Oh God, what am I even doing here,
dude?
Yeah.
Republic.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I interrupted you with a GamesCast crash. You were looking forward to this game. ...
Yeah. So I was looking forward to this game, but I didn't know what to expect. I was very cautiously optimistic. Mm-hmm. I gotta say, man, I freaking love this game, and I was not expecting it. I was not expecting to love it as much as I do. Yeah, man, I'm happy to break this game down a little bit and give us a little extra mini review, some final thoughts on it. Because like I said, it's so much better. At least I liked it a lot more than I was expecting.
Yeah, all you are is history in the chat. I love this because I like when people try to dissect shit that doesn't matter. He says, so Brian said his review score doesn't 5.5 out of 10 doesn't mean average. So does that mean Republique is an average game or slightly above at 7.5 out of 10? The answer is it's actually a really good game. And if we'll discuss some of the bad things in a minute, but this easily could have been an 8.5 if they had just if a few of the issues were ironed out.
We basically had it penciled in as an 8 out of 10, but some technical issues brought it down a little bit.
Yeah, this is actually really good. And so, with that said, let's start this review discussion as we always do, starting with the good stuff. What do we really, really like about Republique?
That it's like Metal Gear, man. No, it's it's the gameplay, the stealth gameplay and level design is very much like Metal Gear, and I've always wanted a Metal Gear game. Now, this is the thing though, is when we think of Metal Gear Solid in VR, we're thinking first person, very hands on, get to use the tech. This game uses the DualShock 4, but you're not just controlling from a third person perspective of just like you're just some god observing the character and controlling them. You're actually playing technically as two different characters at once, and you're playing as somebody that's hacking through cameras, and you can zip around and move around through that way. And then you're also controlling Hope, which is the main character, and having to sneak past enemies and use a bunch of different tools at your disposal. And I love this. I love this aspect of it, and this is one of the things I like the most about it, and was not expecting to be like, whoa. Like, am I playing like a Metal Gear Solid right now? Like not Metal Gear Solid, but a Metal Gear style stealth game, like VR missions or something in VR. And I feel like, yeah, like that is very much representative of what the gameplay is like.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we tackle the first person stuff, let's tackle the third person stuff. And that is you're controlling Hope with an analog stick on your DualShock 4 or your DualSense controller. And you move her around the 3D environment, and you're, jumping into lockers, or you're crouching and trying to avoid being seen by the guards. And that is sort of the essence of Metal Gear, right? It's all. The funny thing about Metal Gear is that it's never really been, or I mean, I stopped playing Metal Gear games a long time ago, but for the most part, like if you remember Metal Gear 1, you very were frequently looking down almost like a grid, right?
Right.
And seeing everything from a little bit of a distance. So it felt very much like a third person game. And you can, and so you're maneuvering these environments, and there's, I think the core gameplay of just moving Hope around the screen is super, super simple. And it's kind of amazing that it doesn't feel that way at all once you've spent 10 hours with it. It feels much bigger than that, much more in-depth gameplay wise.
Yeah, there's, like I said, there's a lot of there's like unlocks. So this game usually, now let me give a heads up. This game is like a little bit more slow paced. It's got a little bit more mature theme. So it's not like this crazy action packed, over the top action. No, it's actually a very serious tone. It's almost like a dystopian future with like a big corporation, running the thing. And the person you're controlling, Hope, is they call them precals, which I'm guessing is like calibrated, and they have they're almost like slaves. It's a really dark story that they're trying to tell here, and you're basically trying to help her escape. And there's a lot more to it than that. Obviously, like there's a lot of characters in this. There's a lot of background story, some different events that are taking place that are pretty cool. But yeah, when I make the connection to Metal Gear, this isn't by like I'm like a stretch here. Like this isn't. I don't think it is at all. The creative director on this game.
I love that you're like, it's not a stretch to compare this to Metal Gear, but when I compare Starship Disco to Audica, you're like, not even the same thing. Even in the same
it's
realm.
close. No, that's not true. But this is the thing, is like the creative director, Ryan Payton, great friend of ours, amazing person, and the whole team, in fact. He was a producer for Metal Gear Solid 4. He's worked on a lot of other things, but he was involved with Metal Gear Solid 4. This game even has David Hayter voice acting a role in the game. So there is like a deep connection from them. That being said, don't just assume that I'm saying that this is Metal Gear Solid, like it's or Metal Gear in VR. It's because they are trying to tell an original story here. So it's more it's got a little bit more escape and survival elements to it that go with the stealth versus like stealth action, blowing up tanks, throwing grenades, things like that. Although you do have some weapons and tools at your disposal, like a taser and pepper spray, and you can find these items. And like I said, we're still on the subject of things we love about this game. I love exploring this game. There's not many games that I sit there and I listen to all the audio tapes. I look at every image, like item I can find. I explore and try to get. I even go out of my way to make sure I get all the items. This is like the first game I think that really ever made me do that. And I felt like I was being rewarded for it. I felt like I'd either find a funny little joke or I just get more equipment that I needed, or something like that.
Yeah, it's funny because somebody made a comment. I forget who it was. On when I published my initial review yesterday, before I took it down and put an updated review up today. They said, "Wait, you like this, but the radio in Saints and Sinners pissed you off." and I've got to say that again, you got to be in the right mindset to play this because they're going to throw so much at you, and if you don't care about the story, fine, just like go scan everything and use it for the points that you accumulate points for the stuff that you scan, and then you can use those points to like upgrade your abilities. We'll talk about that in a second. But and so you can like just skip through it all if you don't care about the backstory, you don't care about what's going on around you, don't care about learning anything about the lore of this place or about Hope or even just like some of the ancillary characters. So you can do that, but I found myself stopping and just being like, and just listening and just waiting for the voiceovers to end and like taking it all in. And I'm actually really, really impressed that there's so much shit shoved into this game. It is a massive collectathon. You're going to find audio tapes and books, and you're going to pickpocket VR video games out of the pockets of all the guards.
I was going to say, I love how there's other VR games. You can pickpocket in this as well. Forgot to mention that, so thank you. And some of the things you can pickpocket from guards are video games, and there's like I took screenshots of them. So I pulled like Dread Halls. There's a disc for Rec Room.
Fantastic Contraption. Fucking Brookhaven. There's
Brookhaven Experiment. Like so many deep cuts. Other games, and that's what I'm saying is that's the kind of stuff that I felt like I was rewarded for exploring and trying to find.
Yeah. So if you're the type of person who really enjoys collectathons, then like there is a ton of shit for you to find here. Like even every single guard that you encounter, you can scan, and then there's a little profile about them, a little photograph,
right.
A little description of them, their allergies or medical conditions or criminal past or whatever,
yeah.
Right? And so then you're like, yeah, I don't know, like it didn't make me feel bad for taking them down, but it gave me just the feeling that these aren't just a bunch of mindless characters. And honestly, the further you get into the game, oh man, this is so no spoilers, but when we talk about the bad stuff. There's a path that you can't take in this game because it's a game-breaking bug, and if you go down that path, then it actually matters which guard is taking you in and stuff. So it is they play with this in a very, very interesting way, and we'll talk about the bad stuff in a minute.
Yeah, and the voice acting and stuff is really good. The main character, the main protagonist, Hope, I really liked her voice acting that she did. And the rest of it is, like I said, it's got a very serious tone to it. So it's, like as much as I love this game, it's not a game I would recommend to absolutely everybody. But I do think that there's a lot of people that if they check this out, that they would really, really appreciate it and would hate to miss out on what this game has to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, the first person stuff feels... It feels strange, right? Because you're playing as somebody who's helping Hope along and doing your best to unlock doors for her and do whatever you can. And so you're okay. Every time you tap R1, you go into detective vision mode, and it freezes the game. And so so if shit's hitting the fan or if there's guards everywhere and you like don't know what to do, just tap R1. and reassess the situation and be like, okay, there's a guard over here, there's a guard over here. Try to find a safe route for Hope, um, and and at the same time, that's where you're gonna be scanning a bunch of stuff, and that's where you're gonna be like unlocking doors or doing whatever. So, uh, and then and very frequently you're going to have to get a different perspective on it, so you can look around for other video cameras, other surveillance cameras, and get that perspective. You can just switch right over to that camera, and so it feels really interactive on both levels. It does feel like you're doing two things at once. It feels like, I mean, I would say even more than like Moss, which sort of does the same first person, third person thing. It feels like you're doing more in first person than Moss ever let you do. So
Yeah, well, I think the gameplay style calls for it too. Like you can be with Hope, and then you can be like seeing her surroundings, but then if you hear something, you can zip ahead like 6 cameras. Like you can go really far actually to the other side, like almost to the other side of like the complex or the building or something.
Yeah.
And you can see what's going on in each area. And I loved that about it. I loved how you had this freedom to go well beyond where the character was, and explore almost and kind of see what's up ahead using the hacking the different cameras.
Yeah, there were points in the game where I was looking for information on different computers, and I didn't even need Hope. I'm just going to leave her back here, and I like boom, 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 jumped ahead, and I was like,
Right.
oh, this is the computer I was looking for. Just leave her
Right.
back there. I don't need her, man. I'll take care
And
of
you
all
just
this on
hack
my
it.
own. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So if anybody has ever seen Equilibrium, that's another movie I wanted to reference, with kind of like how the storytelling is done with this. Um, Equilibrium minus the gun fu, and the kung fu in the action. It's more like that kind of storytelling. But yeah.
Yeah, and dude, so I mean, one of the major things here that we need to address is that this is a long game. It can take you 10, 12
Yes.
hours your first time through. If you can, I found out that you can blast through it super fast in about 6 or 7 hours, maybe 6. And but yeah, my first time through was almost 12 hours. And there's just a ton of content here, man. Like there's just so much to do, and there are some decisions that you're going to make, and there are tons of collectibles to find, and so totally on you whether you decide that you want to go down the path of searching everything out, finding everything. You want to upgrade your abilities, dude. So the first time I played through the game, I really wasn't upgrading my character at all, and I kind of found myself in a rut where like it was. I just wasn't getting the shit that I needed. And then when I started my second playthrough, I just went in with a totally different perspective. I'm like, scan everything, and accumulate currency as fast as possible, and start unlocking things. And when you start unlocking things like being able to hack emails, being able to hack voicemails, those kind of things, suddenly those being able to do that makes acquiring currency so much faster, because now you're not only scanning, like documents and computers, whatever, but now you're also scanning emails, you're also scanning voicemails, and so that's building your currency as well. And so those things, unlocking those right away, allows you to unlock the rest of the skills way, way, way faster. And on my second playthrough, I had them all unlocked by like 60-70% of the way through the game.
What Brian is trying to say, long story short, is that there are some abilities that let you get more currency easy. And then there's other abilities that are actually like abilities that can help assist you, like a distracting thing. And one of my favorite moments in this was when there was a part where I had 2 guards closing in on me, and I was like, oh shit. And I actually used that that distraction ability, which you can't use on anything. It has to be, you're a hacker, and they try to make it like, a little bit more realistic, I guess, where it's like a phone or something you can hack, and it rings the phone and distracts the guard. I shit you not, I had like half a second to react, and I hit that thing, and the other guard turned around, and like I escaped just barely, and it was so cool. But yeah, man, like you said, 10-hour game with replay value, and this game is $15 usually. But is on sale for PS Plus for $10. That is $1 an hour for this game. And I think they actually, so this might sound crazy, but I actually feel like the vision that they had for this, they actually executed their vision of this game better than they executed the vision for Iron Man VR. and that hurts to say a little bit, but but I actually think that this game is actually like a little bit more well-rounded as opposed to Iron Man. I love Iron Man, but I do feel like this was executed like a lot better.
Yeah, there's certainly like there's a good sense of progression as you unlock things. The level variety is decent. It's divided up into 5 chapters. It was released in
Graphics are nice in areas. Some of the
yeah.
areas look really pretty. Some of
Yeah.
the rooms look actually some there's here and there some stuff looks pretty stunning actually.
Yeah, I think the architecture looks really well done, and so yeah, it's there's and the level variety is good. The level design is really good when you're doing your Metal Gear stealthing, and just trying to lay out the best path for Hope. I feel like it's done well. It's done intelligently. There's usually multiple paths, different ways to get from place to place, different options. If you're willing to explore, you can find screwdrivers that you can, and those will kind of give you shortcuts from place to place, because then you're able to open like these air vents. There's a lot going on here, and I really enjoyed not only the freedom that it gives you, but also like the sense of accomplishment you get when you actually complete a certain section and you weren't caught, because you can run from these guys, and sometimes you'll be successful if you just happen to get away. But that doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel satisfying when you get through a section and you weren't even seen by anybody. That feels really good.
I'll tell you what is satisfying is sneaking up behind somebody and tasering them and taking them out of the game completely. Yeah. That shit is satisfying. That felt so good. But yeah, man. So we got to talk about some of the negatives here.
Yeah,
because there are a few to go through. But I gotta say I recommend this game. Maybe not to everybody. If you just want something that's like instantly satisfying, if you want something that's like mindless fun, that's not going to be this. This is a little bit different than a mindless kind of playing game. This is a very cerebral kind of game.
Mad Max the Metaverse Gamecat VR in the chat says, I'm hearing the professional answers you two are giving, but is it a good game? And I have a very clear answer for you. It's a great game. But
yeah.
But that statement comes with a huge asterisk, and that asterisk is,
yeah.
But, and I'm going to go with the big one first, man. After I published my review yesterday, somebody said, hey, does this have the same issues that the other VR versions have? There's a game-breaking bug that doesn't allow you to finish the game in Chapter 5. And I said, that's weird. I didn't have that problem. And I was like, wait. But there's a whole other path that I didn't take. There's like they give you an option to side with one person or another person at the beginning of Chapter 5. And I was like, fuck, like what if the other path is broken? And so that's when I said, okay, hold the phone, man. And I sat down, put on the headset, and I speed ran this entire game. I was like just blasting through. And I was actually having a lot of fun doing it. And I think my second playthrough was even more fun than my first. And so, and then I got to that point and I made the other decision in Chapter 5. And it lets you go for quite a while, and you don't even know that you hit the game-breaking bug until you start seeing, you're like, wait a minute, I've already found this guard. I already had this conversation with this guard, and you get stuck in an endless game loop, and you don't even know that you're stuck until you realize you're like, oh shit, like there's just no way to progress from this point on.
Yeah, it's funny because so I haven't even finished the game. I played it for like 8 hours straight yesterday, 9 hours straight, and I was just loving it. I ran into one bug the entire time, and it wasn't even that big of a bug, but one bug. And apparently I dodged a couple from what you've told me.
Yeah. There was another one where like you're scanning objects, and the thing that pops up isn't the object you scanned. And so it's not triggering the voice cues that are supposed to progress that scene forward. And so I didn't see that on my first run either. And on my second run, I saw it. Luckily, quitting the game and reloading my save allowed me to get through that. So I'm like, that's not a huge deal to me. But like a game-breaking bug that you just and somebody asked in the chat earlier, they're like, well, can you just restart the chapter and like choose? No, because you don't. There's no chapter select. It's just save games. And so, by the time you realize that you've gone down the wrong path and you've hit that game-breaking bug, your save is too far gone, and you're just shit out of luck, and you've got to start the game over again. So here's why the score isn't like the 8.3, 8.4 that I really would have liked to give it. I think this game is amazing, especially for the price point. But I
did love this game.
Yeah, but here's a huge reason why we just can't give it a better score. To the fact that I have to tell you guys, hey guys, make sure you side with the girl instead of the dude near the end.
Yeah.
I'm saying this way so I don't give spoilers,
so,
obviously.
so I don't have a lot to say on the bugs because I actually was very lucky and missed all of them. But I do want to squeeze in a couple more little design things. The camera, I was talking about how much I love switching from camera to camera to camera. There's a couple times, or most of the time, if you don't change the camera yourself, the camera will automatically switch for you. Most of the game, this actually works pretty well. But there's a couple times, even in the very beginning, where the camera would change on me, and like the angle was terrible, and like it was like, whoa, like what the heck is this? Like,
Where's Hope?
Yeah. Well, and like the way you're facing and everything was awful. There's a couple places in the game where it'll automatically switch your camera, and it's in a terrible spot. And in the beginning, I was like, I really want this to. I really wish I could just turn off the automatic camera switch. So, but it's not too bad. There's a couple parts that drag a little here and there, but typically right around where I was like, oh, I'm so done with this part, it would end and then it would change, and it was really nice. The spatial audio is a little so if you're trying to like tell where somebody is coming from or something, you can tell something is close, but you can't tell. Not all the time does it like really pinpoint where they are. I think audio design is really important for stealth games. But that's about it for me, man. Overall, like I said, I love this game. I'd recommend it's $10. I think that's a very competitive price, and yeah, I think it deserves a chance. And I would love to hear anyone who picks it up. I would love to hear your feedback on it after you give it a chance and see what you think, because yeah, I'm giving this a big thumbs up. Should we? And I ordered the collectors, the limited edition, limited run games collector's edition, and that sucker's going right here on the shelf because I'm pretty proud of what they did here, and I think it's super cool. If you've been looking for a Metal Gear gameplay type experience, you have to check this one out. You have to give it a chance.
Yeah. Just to knock out a couple more negatives here. The analog stick control, I feel like is a little bit on the rough side. You never quite feel like you have total control over Hope. If you played any other third-person game ever in your entire life, this doesn't.
I didn't have as many issues with that, but I know what you mean though.
Yeah, it doesn't have that same natural feel that everything else does, and so every single time the camera angle changes, like boom, you got to hit R1 immediately.
Oh right, it's almost like tank controls.
Because otherwise you'll be walking the wrong way. I wish it had tank controls. Tank controls, at least if I was pushing up the entire time when the camera changed, I'd still be walking forward when the camera changed. Instead,
I got used to it. Because games used to do that all the time, and so like I just remembered. Yeah, but just don't let go.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is like I feel like other games 20 years ago did this better. They'd switch to a different camera, and they used to do it better. They used to do it better than this does it. And so again, hit R1 the second you get into the habit, like the game trains you to be like, well, your control is going to be fucking garbage for the first few seconds as soon as the camera switches. And you're probably not going to know where Hope is on the screen. And you probably won't know which camera you're looking through. So you probably don't know if she's over there or over there. And if you walked into the scene, you probably won't know which way you're going anymore. So fucking the second the camera changes, boom, hit R1, freeze, look around and go, okay, there she is. She's over there. I'm trying to get over here. Where are the guards? Okay, now let's continue. And then you continue on.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you have to do it every time. I just think if you switch cameras and you don't see her, and especially if it's a intense moment, then hit it.
Yeah.
You know?
Now the other thing AJ doesn't know about, because he picked there's 4 different outfits to choose from the beginning, and you know, like one's like some uniform, one's a schoolgirl outfit, which of course I chose. Don't ask questions. Better that way. That sounds really perverted, but it's not. I swear to you, I don't know. I just thought it was a cute outfit. I don't know. And then there's like this track jacket thing, and then one other. And so, and it's so weird because at the beginning, you pick your outfit from the very beginning before you even start the game, and then she's wearing that for the entire game. And so you think, oh, just got to choose my costume. But no, there's more to it than that.
Yeah, it actually changes some game mechanics.
I don't even know what those things are. I played through in the schoolgirl outfit, and I'm going through. I'm collecting tapes that you can actually save your game with, and I will tell you that without the saves, the checkpoints are garbage. Only when you're playing as her,
Yeah.
as that schoolgirl. And then when I went to
Play
play
in the outfit on the main cover, the gray jumpsuit or whatever.
yeah, the gray jumpsuit with the hood. And so my
Yep.
second playthrough I played as that. And then when I got caught, I was walked back to the detention center and I immediately started from there with all the progress that I had made. So like I'm assuming it's just a weird glitch, but like they don't explain any of this. So now I've played through the game twice, and there are things about the game I still don't understand. And to me, that's just poor explanation, poor game design, whatever. It's like, you just fucking tell us, man. Tell us what these 4 characters are. Tell us what the 4 costumes do. And I'm sure if it was this way on other VR platforms, I just need to look it up and find out. But still, as somebody who played the game twice, I feel like I should know this shit by now. Donatello, the Scientist Gamecat with the $5 tip, says, "Hey Sony, please look at how great VR makes old games like Republic play and look. Just imagine what VR games could do for great old games, BioShock, etc." God
Listen
damn,
to
I love
Donnie's
BioShock in VR. Also, get Nihilus Ryan, the Game Feeling, with the $5 tip, says, "Every time I see someone tip, I try to tip again. Does this work? Did it work this time?"
It did work this time. Thank you so much.
That is awesome. All right, guys, we got to wrap this up. But first, so anyway, as we said, it's a should we. It's luckily, if this was like a $25, $30 game, I think I'd have some huge reservations and be like,
Yeah.
God damn, like this game has some serious issues. But for $10, because it's on sale at launch with 30% off, I mean, pick it up and just be aware of the issues.
I played this game after playing Elden Ring, and I was having a great time. Let that sink in. That's got to stand for something. That I put 30 hours into Elden Ring and then played this, and I was actually hooked on Republic and stuff. So it's a good game. It's, if not a great game, and I freaking loved it.
Neon Groove said, "I never saw the appeal of hoodies. How are we friends?" Like hoodies are my like go-to top. Like I'm always wearing a hoodie whenever possible. The second the weather gets too warm for hoodies, I get real depressed. And then as soon as fall rolls around again, I'm happy Brian all over again. Nick the Gamecat House said, "You know they're up to something sneaky when they have the hood on." All right, man, it's time for PSVR 20 questions. And AJ is the host this time. That means you guys out there and me right here have 20 yes or no questions to figure out what PSVR game AJ's thinking of. Oh, I'm sorry. Mad Max the Metaverse Gamecat VR with a $2 tip says, "Your video said you didn't know if upgrades carry over." I don't know what happened my first time through. I wasn't purchasing a lot of upgrades. And so for me, I was like, I don't know what's going on here. I think the second time through, it made a little bit more sense, and I upgraded a lot, and I purchased all the upgrades, and all those upgrades remained with me to the end of the game. So I'm glad I replayed it and kind of clarified that a little bit for myself. I think that aspect.
My
is
upgrades,
fine.
my saves, all mine stuff worked fine. Right.
Choose
the character with the gray suit, the very first one.
Right.
You won't have these issues.
and then when you're done, play through all the other ones and let me know what the difference is.
And then let us know.
Although I probably will play it a third time just for shits and giggles. Maybe I'll figure something out. Dude, it's time for PSVR 20 questions. Let me put 6 minutes up on the clock. The clock up on the counter the way that Jeremy likes it. And let's go. Does this require, this is going to be a tough question. Does this require the moves?
I believe it requires the moves. Yes.
Okay, good. Requires the moves. See, I kind of.
It says supported, but I'm pretty sure it's only moves.
Okay, requires moves. Okay,
Yeah,
that's good. I knocked out a couple questions by asking it that way. Would you call? Are there a lot of puzzles in this game?
There are not a lot of puzzles in this game.
Okay. Let's see. Is there a lot of shooting in this game?
There's a little bit of shooting in this game.
Some shooting. Okay.
And by the way, there's no puzzles in this game.
No puzzles. Okay.
I didn't want to confuse you. I don't want to get
so
cheating again, even though it'll happen anyways.
Nice. Oh, are there vehicles in this game?
There are not vehicles in this game.
Okay, no puzzles, no vehicles. Some shooting, requires the moves. Would you call this it wouldn't be a wave shooter if there's some shooting. Ooh, James Moore. Good question. Has it ever been on a top 25 list or top 10 or top whatever?
Has it been? That's a good question.
You can just say, do you think we good enough to be considered for one? How about that?
I don't. That's a really subjective thing. I don't think. Let me make this clear. I don't think it's been on a top 25 list.
Okay, so
It
that gives me a
might
good
have.
impression. It's a good enough game that he's
It might
questioning
have,
it. Okay,
but I don't remember.
okay. Um, Sci-fi Gamecat Henry. Is it narrative driven?
It is not narrative driven.
Oh, you laughed a little bit, which means it's probably shallow. Um, okay, some shooting, which means it's not like a wave shooter. It's not. Oh, is the shooting done with guns as
Um,
opposed to like bows and arrows or magic or something?
uh, it's not only guns. No,
Okay, guns and more. Okay. Shades asked, is there melee combat?
there is melee combat.
Okay, we're starting to get a picture together here. Has this developer made other PSVR games?
I don't think so. I looked it up. I tried to look up, and no, it didn't seem like it.
Okay, that eliminates a lot of titles. I don't know, Roy Schwartz. I'm gonna just assume it's first person, although that's probably gonna be a horrible decision later on. Guns and other weapons. Guns. See, Braxbro Gun Club is just guns. Oh, geez, I gotta fucking. Would you call this an indie title?
Yes.
Okay. Are you primarily using swords in this game?
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, it can't be raw data, Nick, because it's developers has not made other VR games.
It's really up to you. Mostly.
This is driving me crazy. Yeah, it's not story based. It can't be Skyrim because Bethesda's made other. Oh my god, why? It can't be. Is this multiplayer?
It's not multiplayer.
All right, there goes Zenith. And it can't be Swordsman because it was made by Swords Studio made a bunch of games. Is there I just asked if it's multiplayer,
You
right?
just asked that.
Yeah. So no multiplayer.
No.
Fuck, man. Vader Immortal's definitely story driven. Wow. Okay. There's no multiplayer in Trickster. I mean, there is multiplayer in Trickster. We can't do that one. Oh my god, this is crazy. This is crazy. Why? I never can think of any good games. Is it fantasy themed?
It's kind of fantasy themed.
Kind of fantasy.
Ish. Not really, but a little bit.
It's not an arena fighter, right? Is it an arena
Is that
fighter?
a question?
Yeah,
It is an arena fighter.
How many questions do I have left?
You have 5 questions left.
Okay. Are the weapons in this game really rubbery?
The weapons in this game are, in fact, very rubbery.
Could this possibly be the game that hasn't even come out yet? Could this be Gorn?
It is Gorn. I saw Nihilist right in the game feline say it
Nice.
first.
Awesome.
Actually, it's funny because this is the second time now I've noticed. I think it was Nick the Gamecat How earlier in the stream said Gorn. And this is the second time the game that I had picked had gotten mentioned earlier on in the stream. Good job, cats. Good job helping Brian there.
Yeah, no, I definitely needed the help. Gorn does have a gun. That's why he says there's some shooting in it.
It has a gun. It has a bow and arrow. It has a crossbow, I think.
Never considered for a top 25. Not even close.
Didn't he make the honorable mentions?
No, not that I'm.
Yeah,
aware.
I didn't think it was on. I didn't think so, but I wasn't. I was like, I could have seen it around launch, being like on its first debut. I could have seen it making like one of them, but I didn't think so.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right, guys. Yeah, thank you so much to all the cats who helped me out in the chat. I don't this. I'll tell you. I watch GameScoop when they do it. I swear, I'm sitting on my couch and I'm watching them, and I get it every single time. Right? When you're sitting in the hot seat, it's so much more difficult. So I really appreciate you guys helping me out big time. Also, I appreciate all the cats out there who changed your name to GameCat, who we gave a shout out to this week. Remember, if you change your name to GameCat as well, hashtag GameCat in the comments somewhere on the channel so I can find you and give you a shout out on next Friday's show. Also, thank you so much for all the people who support us on patreon.com/withoutparolegames. It is the way I pay my bills, and I appreciate you so much allowing me to pay my bills so I can keep doing this full time. I love you so very much for that. Thank you to all the mods who make this channel run over here and over on Discord. Remember to join us on Discord. Click the link in the description below. Thank you to Jay Meow. Thank you to Sci-Fi Gamecat Henry. Thank you to this guy over here, AJ, who's here fucking even more often than I am. I feel like we do this 3 days a week. I feel like he's here 4 days a week. Thank you so much, man. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. Thank you to all the cats in the chat. Thank you to everybody who helped me out. Thank you to all the people who tipped today, and of course all the people who sat back, watched the show, didn't say a goddamn word. Happy birthday, Scott Jessico. We love you so very much.
Happy birthday, Scott Jessico, PSN, NFL, PSVR Game Cat for life. Woo! Cue the cat, Brian, because I want to say have a wonderful weekend. To lose reviews. Lots of cats in the chat are calling me a cheater because Gorn is not out yet. Yes, I broke the rules a little bit. I knew they'd accuse me of something. Guys, fist bump to you. Have a great weekend as well. Emily Baxter, hashtag the cartoon, Which Game Kitten. Thanks so much, Mark. Ringles Leaf. You take care as well. Nick the Game Cat, Hal. Peace out, homie. So fat, underground. Game Cat. Side of the horn, 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 side of the horn. Game of the Devil of Foil Lights. Meow, Game Cat. Meow, meow. Meow, meow. Meow, meow. Funkadelic Game Cat. Thanks so much, man. Brax Bro. Thank you. Hack the Game Cat. I knew it was lit up in here. Scott Disco Pizza and Hairfell. Birthday boy. Whoop, whoop. Yeah. Super Galaxy God Star later, man. Mad Max, the Metaverse, Game Cat VR, wet ass. Still waiting on that invasion, Mad Max. Are you scared? Scared, Mad Max? I'm just kidding, man. Jared Keeper, the pink neon 9mm for me. Interesting. I was trying to think if that was something sexual.
God, I hope so. Bring it on.
Time to play with Game Cats. You rock, homie. All you are is history. Wow, his name is back to normal.
Wow.
I was riding the game feline. Great guest, man. Nick Mulo, my homie. Hope everything's going well with you. Feels like it's been so long since I talked to you. We don't catch up anymore. I'm just kidding. I talked to him earlier. Sci-Fi Game Cat Henry. What's up, homie? Thanks so much, man. Shades of Great Matter. Yes, awesome work you do. Keep up the great work. Saturday Night Live stream tomorrow night just for Scott Jessico's birthday. JT Money. It might be a little bit earlier, though, so just be ready at any time. Just go to my channel and just stare at it all day long, and it'll happen at some point. Roy Schwartz says, suck it, Brian.
It's gonna be such. We'd be staring at your channel all day long. If you don't actually stream, it's gonna be a bigger letdown than usual. Wow. Very nice.
But Roy Schwartz said, suck it, Brian.
Hey, that's okay. I'll suck it.
What up,
I'll suck all 9mm. Take no time at all. Also, for anybody who watched the show from the beginning, AJ was like, I'm not going to tell you what Brian was doing during the intro. I was picking my nose because I was trying to make AJ laugh. I was getting all up in the camera, full hands up those nostrils, trying to make you laugh, and it worked, and I'm so happy that it did. Yeah. I also picked my nose when nobody's watching, so that wasn't really a surprise. Anyway.
Ew.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Go wash your hands.
Oh, yeah, it's a good idea.
Those poor boogers. So dirty. Brax Bro said, Brian, please.
Should I end the stream, or are we just going to keep... Yeah? Should I get...